Hey everybody, Happy New Year! I am back in the shop today and I'm going to be getting some work done. Yes, I'm working on New Year's Day. And that is because I have a new client, and my new client is Chapterhouse Studios. And if you might be familiar with them for the cool resin bits that they create, or some of the original models that they do, or the interesting lawsuit that they were involved in. But I'm not going to talk about that here. You can look that up if you don't know. But what I've got today is some stuff from them that you have not seen yet. And today, in particular, I'm going to be working on a full-sized, it's called a Mongolian horse commander. And I'm actually really excited about doing it, and I will show it to you in a second. But the last few weeks, I actually haven't had any commission work. So I've been working on some of my own stuff, trying to do a bit here and a bit there. I have been working on some Perry miniatures, Africa Core Germans for bolt action. Trying to drag all this stuff out of my brain, and it's not all coming easily. But yeah, they're fantastic little minis. Probably closer, although they say they're 28 millimeter, they almost feel closer to 25. And I've been really enjoying them. I've also got one of the bolt action half tracks for them that I've also been working on, which I think you might be looking at over next to me. And then I also picked up, if you watched my last video, I picked up Dead Zone, and I've been playing around with that a bit. And unfortunately, I haven't had as much time to work on that as I might have liked. There's actually a lot of things I'd like to be able to say about that, and maybe some help I could give in working with those models. But you know, I got to do what I got to do, and in this case, it's some cool Chapterhouse stuff. So I guess I really should just go ahead and get right to work, and we can take a look at it. Now, this is going to be less tutorial and more work in progress, as this is stuff that I really want to get done quickly, so I'm not necessarily going to have as much time to show you absolutely everything that I'm doing. But I'll try to explain as much as I can as I go, and we'll see if we can make this a worthwhile video for you. So, see you in a second. Okay, so yeah, this is probably jumping around a bit. This is done, but it's actually taken a week to find all the time to get it done. And the reason is that we've had a really awful bout of weather here in New England. And my shop essentially froze for about a week. I'm actually really lucky that the paints didn't all get hardened and awful. So anyway, oh, wow, I feel out of breath. This is it. The Mongolian horse commander. He is done. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So, let's talk a little bit about it. First, as I think I mentioned I was going to do, all of the options for weapons are all possible thanks to the magic of magnets. And I'll show some pictures at the end that shows all the various options, but I think that worked out really well. They're all 3mm magnets for those who are curious, and they fit perfectly in there. Now, there's two ways you can approach adding magnets, and one is to take 3mm magnets and a 3mm drill and drill out holes for your 3mm magnets, and they will fit perfectly within the holes. Now, the downside to doing it that way is that if you have a problem with your magnet positioning, let's say the hole is too shallow or the hole is too deep, and you get the magnet in there as a test fit, well, it's not coming back out easily anyway. So I tend to make my magnet, or make my drill bit choice a little bit more, a little larger. So generally I'll use the next size larger drill bit, and then I'll fill in with green stuff. If the hole is too shallow, then you can just drill it out a little bit more. If the hole is too deep, as I like to make it go a little deep, then I fill in the excess with little bits of green stuff until I get it to where I want it to be. I like how that shield came out. Quite nice. And anyway, so then once you have it set, then you can toss a little glue into the excess area around the outside of the magnet, and boom, it's done, not coming off. The other thing I had to do here is when this was sent to me, the banners were already glued in, and as you can see, that would have made them nearly impossible to paint. So what I ended up doing was clipping them off so that I could paint them separately, and then gluing them back in once it was all done. Very simple pattern. The lightning bolt and the Roman numeral 9. There's no significance to the 9, by the way. It was just, I like that. I like the I and the X next to each other. And I think it turned out really well for its simplicity. I got the idea for doing the dashed lines around the outside from, I think it was just old, like English medieval cavalry banners. And that's kind of what I used as the basis of my theme going forward, was, cavalry. I took the horse insignia here off of the shield. I was not expecting that to turn out well. Even though I'm much better at doing freehand now than I ever was, I still dread it, and I still feel like half the time with the stuff that I draw, it just looks awful. I'm not an artist in that way. I'm not an illustrator, but I'm getting better at it, and I think that is far better than it has any right to be, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it matches up well with the way the shield insignia looks. And I considered putting the horse head on the banner, but I didn't want to push my luck in terms of in terms of my failure rate on that stuff. So I went ahead and just utilized the lightning bolt instead, and I personally believe that was the right choice. The banners actually, for being white, they have a surprising amount of tonal range to them. They started out with white, and then, but actually it's not that obvious because I started out with gray on the rest of the model. And then I airbrushed some grays into the folds to get a little bit of the tonal range there. And then I added just a smattering of burnt umber on parts of it to age it a little bit, and then I added some raw umber to dirty it up. Now, unfortunately, some of the subtlety of those colors are lost in the photographs, which is really kind of a shame. I blame myself. My the software that I was using is not quite Photoshop level. I'm having an issue right now actually with Photoshop in that my version of Photoshop does not recognize the raw images from my camera because my camera is much newer than my version of Photoshop. So I had been trying out a trial of Capture One 7, which does support my camera raw. Sadly, the trial expired before I got to work on these photos yesterday, so I was forced to just deal. And I actually, honestly, this camera is the same camera that I'm shooting this video with. Handles just JPEG photos pretty well, so I may just do that more in the future. Probably shooting both RAW and JPEG at the same time. That way I have the sort of more archival RAW images if I want, and once I have a piece of software that supports it, great. All those images are there. But in the meantime, I can utilize the power of the JPEG for just getting stuff done. I used these sort of purple tones as a what do you want to call it? Like a highlight color, not a highlight color. Oh, my brain's not working today. In any case, it is a color that I worked out or worked throughout, mostly just in the gems, but obviously also on the glaive here too, as to give it that power weapon look. And I think it works well with the other colors that are there and really stands out. On the other hand, I decided to go with straight up metallic, weathered and rusted on the two swords. And the reason was both of these swords, especially this one has the look of the orc scimitars from Lord of the Rings. And this one obviously is more of a sort of Japanese style 9-ring sword. So for that reason alone, it probably should be shinier than it is. But I thought with the two of them together and having them both be rusted and worn as if these were really truly weapons of battle that are just there to do a job, I kind of like that idea, and I think it works. But that's about it. Not too much more to say. The reds, I definitely went a little paler than I might normally go. I like the scorching on the banners. That was sort of a last minute decision to do, and I think it worked really well. I like battle damaged banners. I think that's it really adds a cool element to everything. So there we go. And I'll show you some photos, some of my final photos, so you can get a sense of what this thing looks like, even though I feel like I did lose a little bit of the subtlety in the color in the photos. The colors do, or the photos do, I think, do justice to the model in general. So that's it for now. I'm about to get started on the next project right now. This is actually the beginning of the day, not the end of the day as I shoot this. Even though this is really the third full day of work on this model. It took a lot longer than I expected. Anyway, this is the third day over 2 weeks in getting this project done, and that's primarily due to the weather. But it's done now, and time to move on to some Terminators. So that's it for now, and I will definitely talk to you later. Don't forget, if you liked this video, like the video. It's just a click. And if you want to make sure to see more of my videos in the future, then you're going to want to subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm getting on close to 2,000 subscribers now. Don't you want to be the 2,000th subscriber? Subscribe now. I'll talk to you later.